Hey, y'all, my name is Bryant Young.
And Derek Chaney.
Here with the Decent Dads podcast. Brand new episode this week.
That's right. Another fabulous one. A guy that I didn't know till tonight.
Yeah.
So heard a lot of stories for the first time.
Yeah.
And, man, he was full of them.
It was fun to have Michael Cho on the show. That rhymed and I didn't mean it to. Derek and I, he's a restaurateur, and I've known him for the better part of a decade now, and Derek and I spend most of our planning meetings for the Decent Dads podcast eating sushi
at his place,
at his restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to have him on. He's got a unique experience in that he's kind of been in the restaurant business and raised kids while he was in that business,
and he has a couple teenagers, which really we haven't had a dad that has two teenagers, especially that close in age,
sure,
and boy and girl. So he has a lot of unique experiences with that as well.
I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. It was a lot of fun. It was funny. We kept it light, and I think this one's going to be great. So. Anything else?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, Decent Dads podcast. Here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Decent Dads podcast. We're here to tell dad jokes, drink coffee, and build a community of dads navigating fatherhood together. I'm Bryant Young, fearless leader, co-host, girl dad, and your friendly local insurance agent based out of Springfield, Missouri. And now, before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He's a 6'3" sophomore shooting guard from small town Missouri. He wishes he was a first-team All-American, but instead, he's the coolest co-host with the most, a fantastic father of two, and the home loan expert. Folks, put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Derek Chaney. How are you, Derek?
Hold it.
Hold it.
Doing good, man. It's a good day for a good day.
It's a good day.
Yes, it is.
Got hoppy coffee in hand.
Prost.
Prost.
And our guest even showed up with something a little extra for us, so appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It's always good to have somebody in the coffee business come over
That's
for
right.
the show.
That's right. Hard into coffee. Hard into coffee.
But yeah, so it's going to be a good episode when he shows up like that. So yeah, I'm excited. We got Michael Cho on the podcast tonight.
Howdy.
Michael, I didn't meet you till about 10 minutes ago.
Right on,
and outside of our text chain, I never talked to you prior to that either.
That's half the fun of this
It's
show.
a pleasure.
Right?
It's going a lot better than our relationship.
Good.
So far,
I like hearing that. I like hearing that. But you and Bryant know each other a little, or probably a lot better than we do.
Yeah, it's been going on probably a decade that I've been following him
really?
around. Yeah.
Okay.
It was 8 years since I started at Hickory.
Yeah.
8.5 now, actually. So
I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael. So if you will, tell us who you are, what you do. Give us your dad resume. Tell us how many kids you got, what are their ages, and which one's your favorite.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, of course, man.
And I was saying it off the air, but before we started recording, but the fact that you guys got this going and that you're doing it, man, it's, kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
People talk about doing stuff like this and never really follow through, man.
We're having fun. Thanks for saying
I got the real studio.
Picture of the old man back there.
Real studio. Yeah,
Dude, I love it. That's a picture I used to walk literally back and forth across like 50 times a day. It was in the hallway next to my office.
It's burned into my brain.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with that, with that Cohiba, I think, or whatever.
Yeah.
There,
Exactly.
Yeah. So money. All right. So anyway, my name is Michael Cho. I'm a business owner and a hospitality professional. My dad resume. I'm a father of two. I got a boy and a girl. The boy is a junior in Nixa High. He's 17, and I have a daughter who's 16. Who turned 16 a couple of months ago, and she's a sophomore in Nixa High. So,
that's close.
18 months,
yeah.
man. Very close to being Irish twins, So we had two.
You guys know what
for a while.
causes that, right?
Yeah.
Like that seems awful tight there, Mike.
Yeah, it was. We won't get into all that. That's for another coffee night. All right, it wasn't supposed to happen.
More
like
coffee.
That, right? It wasn't supposed to happen like that.
Yeah, I get it.
But all things being equal, I mean, we're so glad that it did because they had built-in friends from a year and a half old.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Million from
Sure.
the beginning, and I had one sister who was 3 years younger than me. That was just enough that we never hung out in the same social circles, Even in high school, I mean, you're a freshman, I'm a senior. We're not really going to see much of each other.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It was only after I, went off to college, and then she got to be about 17, 18 that we started, hanging out a little bit,
Sure.
But that's my father resume right
Nice.
there.
Yeah.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention your wife.
Yes. Oh my God, my saint of a wife who's actually dealing with some nonsense right now on board a flight. that's apparently missing 3 screws that are important.
The weirdest thing.
Right.
And just with my daughter on the way down to a cheer competition, the final one of the year. It's like the Worlds down in Orlando.
Oh wow,
Oh, nice.
nice.
So actually, we have several friends that are in the area that are down there or on their way down already. But yeah, they're stuck in a plane and not taking off, and the next flight is tomorrow midnight, which means she'll miss some stuff.
Okay.
Oh damn.
I don't know. So hopefully they find these screws.
Yeah, sure.
Take off. Yeah,
Right?
find the screws, man.
Right.
all right?
Like just
We'll
off
see.
the bathroom stall,
Go
like
to
anything, just
Go to
something.
Lowe's,
Anybody got a
something.
screw?
Yeah,
Glasses,
yeah,
you
right.
know, those little
Right.
ones that go in there. In the
Oh,
joint.
that's funny.
But yeah,
Well-
so Jenny, we've been married, oh my gosh, 17 years now.
Cool.
Wow, nice, nice.
And yeah, she's my partner and everything. She's my business partner now. That's happened in recent years, in the last 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. But yeah, the love of my life, mother of my children, man.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
Well, and there are several reasons that we wanted you on the show, but one of them is that we have most of our podcast meetings over lunch with a bowl of craft sushi in front of us.
Oh,
Yep.
that's-
So,
Yep, we do.
so most of
Big
the time,
fans,
no,
big fans.
dead serious. Before any of this, he and I, it's probably once a week
Yeah.
at this point
Yeah,
that
at least.
we're in the
Shoot,
shop
you've been in there
having
since
sushi.
day one, man,
Yeah.
and been a huge supporter.
Well, we
so
love
I
your
can't,
shop,
I
man.
Can't
It's
thank
awesome.
you enough, man.
Oh.
That's what I should have brought us some craft sushi for you guys. for
Oh,
dinner.
you don't need to do that. No, I
Next
overcooked
time,
a steak
next
for dinner
time.
tonight. It's great. Yeah,
That's
just
funny because I did the exact same thing.
hockey puck ribeyes, everybody's favorite.
Yeah, well done, tri-tip.
Not very dad of you.
Yeah,
No.
pretty poor dad work there. So, Michael, we do a couple of things every week.
Yep.
Every episode, we start with tantrum of the day, and we were kind of joking about this earlier. That like you've got the 16 and the 17-year-old, they probably don't have tantrums.
No.
but
Yeah.
I bet it might just be tantrum by another name
Different
at that
form,
age.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Correct.
Like it's a different thing.
It's darker. It's actually darker. Right? Listen, kids rolling around on the floor screaming in a restaurant. Listen, everybody knows what that is.
yeah, sure.
You're 2. You know, that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
It gets a little more. I don't know. Yeah, it just gets. There's more layers.
There's a different
to that
emotion
game.
involved there.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions, brother. All right, 16-year-old girls.
Yeah.
All right? A lot of emotions.
I want to talk so much about teenagers, and because that's not anything that we have experience with. But like
Yep.
you
Welcome to my
mentioned,
world, baby.
you mentioned ahead of time that you actually had a dad tantrum instead of a kid tantrum
correct.
this week.
I did
Tell
have a dad
tell us
tantrum.
about your dad tantrum.
All right, so it is kid related, or it's due to my kids that I had this tantrum.
Sure.
All right, which is
It's
usually
not me, it's them.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you guys.
It's not my own fault.
All right. No, but the genesis of most of my tantrums in life right now has to do with my children. Right? No, all jokes aside, I was at the DMV, of course. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody's favorite.
So I'm from Jersey originally. Jersey DMV is kind of on another level. Like when I came out here, I was like, DMV, this is nice. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
quick.
Dude, I was in and out in like 40 minutes. What?
40
Dude, you got to
minutes.
take an afternoon off work if you're in Jersey. You want to go.
Is
to
it that
Really?
bad? Huh?
I'm not even kidding. Dude.
Wow.
You'll sit
Dang.
there for 2.5 hours before anybody like calls your number. You know, that's a regular thing. Anyway, so I'm at the DMV, and I'll tell you why I'm at the
No,
DMV.
thank you.
I told you my daughter just turned 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got her a car. Got her a nice car. I studied this. That's the one kind of shopping that what guy doesn't like to do.
Car shopping,
It's
of
on a
course,
budget,
right?
You know, but the deal with
Right.
the kids always was, whatever you have saved up to 16, right? Whatever you guys have, with jobs or chores and all that, you save it. Whatever you have saved, I'll double that, and that's your budget for a car.
Nice.
All right,
okay.
so you got
That's
half
cool.
skin in the game.
I
right?
I like that. Yeah.
So so I took her budget and well, with Ethan was the same thing. Ethan was like just pre-pandemic, so I had to buy the car a little early for another reason I won't get into. But
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, I got his car locally and it was fine, a good car. But I had to find hers, and I was looking, I find one that I loved and she loved in Chicago. Dude, so on a Tuesday, and I'm, right now I'm at a stage in my life right now, currently, where I have some time.
Sure.
During the day I could do things like this. So I was on a flight at 7.
Oh,
Right?
nice. Yeah.
Flew up to Chicago, took a 45-minute Uber to Schaumsburg, Illinois. All right,
Schaumsburg.
and bought the car, got on the road like around 11, and I was home by 7. So it was like a 12-hour trip, man. Boom, up
Dang.
to Chicago, get
That's
the car
awesome.
for her.
Not
bought
messing
it,
around.
and
Yeah.
loved it. It was a nice car. Dude, she's not in this thing 3 weeks. I mean, we get it.
No.
In the 3 weeks, by the way, the 1 week she was in spring break, so she wasn't even driving. You know what I mean? So in 2 weeks, listen, man, it is the most asinine kind of accident. And I'm so thankful she's all right.
Sure, of
and,
course.
And I pat myself on the back for getting a safe car. she is following a friend of hers from her friend's house back to our house, and we're in Nixa. She's turning off a side street onto Main Street later, and so she's turning onto northbound Main Street, right there by Tracker, and she just her friend goes, and I don't know if she was distracted. I hope not, because she was really adamant about that when we were practicing.
Good for her.
And always up my ass about that. You know what I mean?
Your friendly local insurance agent appreciates
There
that.
you go. There you go. But she looked right. She said she claimed she looked right. I was like, honey, what's looking right going to do when you're turning right? You have to look at left.
Oncoming traffic,
Right?
dear. Oncoming
And
traffic.
this is the girl, when we were practicing driving, she would annoy me intentionally by stopping fully, which is fine. Of course,
Yeah,
you're
of
supposed to.
course.
But
Yeah.
look left, look right. Look left and look right again, and maybe look left one more time. I swear that was like a running joke, right? And she would, just to annoy me.
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
Let me sit here at this intersection. for 1
That's
second.
funny.
But and then of course in practice she doesn't look left and gets T-boned, dude. Right
Oh.
on the she gets T-boned by a young lady who actually had 2 young children still in car seats in the car, but it was like a Yukon.
Yeah.
So
Yukon
her car
does some damage, though.
Yeah, it does.
That's a
So
big
her
vehicle.
car had a little crack in the bumper, maybe.
Yeah.
And Lillian's car was just crumpled on the side, and she couldn't open her door.
Right.
The axle broke, and the wheel was like, it was basically on its side. You know what I mean? So I show up. God, we're just sitting at home, and this is literally, like a mile and a half down the street. So I race over there, and first thing, obviously, she's okay. She's all shook up, obviously, but she's still in the car. And thank God, that's the thing about this area. And I've been here 21 years last year.
Oh,
and the
cool.
people are just so freaking kind here. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. This lady had come out, and she was like, she prayed over my daughter and was telling her, reassuring everything's okay. At the same time, at the first, I guess the interchange that they had after the accident, because they're right there, and she's like, "Did you call the police?" And my daughter's like, "I don't even know what to do. Like, what?" And then she asked me, she's like, "How do you call the police?" I was like, "Sweetheart, 911, 911." Yeah.
Listen, I'm a little flustered, Dad. All right.
Three
She's like,
numbers.
"Oh, you can call 911. Like, that's not for super emergency." I was like, "No, you don't have to have somebody wielding an axe chasing you for you to call 911. That's a perfect example for you to dial 911."
Yes.
Anyway, so lessons learned there, right?
Sure.
But anyway, so she gets into this wreck. God bless her. So now here I'm in the hunt for another car. But God bless you, insurance people. I got more than I paid for the car because I was
Dang.
smart about it. Yeah.
There you go.
And,
Good for you.
And then I found a car that was cheaper, that was nicer in Rogersville. So
Man.
we just got that car.
Worked out well.
But anyway, so I'm at the DMV.
Yeah.
So you know how this works. I bought a car. I went to register the car after it was totaled because I had a 90-day temp tag on
Yeah,
this thing.
yeah,
Right? So I
of
wasn't in
course.
any hurry.
No, of course
I
not.
had it for like 3 weeks.
Why would you
I'll
be?
get to it. We just gone to spring break and back, and I'll get to it when I get to it. It's 90 days. I have it till
I got time.
May.
Yeah.
So she wrecks the thing, and I'm like, oh, well, they totaled it, so now I got to get the title to send to the insurance company,
So we can
obviously.
then salvage it out. Yeah.
So I'm waiting on that. And I go to the DMV, and I gave them my address and what happened, and they wrote that up. This lady, after just can't figure out what's going on. I was like, where is this title? Because it's been a month now, and it's holding up my claim, and I'm really needing this. And yeah, I may have thrown a little bit of a tantrum because that was just, listen, nothing rude or bad, but in the rage that was going through my head, and then ultimately,
Seeing red.
she's with a car title, they're not going to mess around. Like if there's any mistakes on the address or anything, it's not coming to you.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
It's not right.
She spells Hill. I live on North Rich Hill Circle.
Sure.
Hill with 2 I's and 1 L. Okay, listen, I get it.
Okay.
But you finally find it, because it was all in caps too, so you couldn't really tell what she had done. So anyway, that was the gist of it. But anyway, yeah, I came pretty close to just kind of, throwing myself on the floor and rolling around. That's basically almost what happened.
Having a tantrum like my 2-year-olds do.
Just to be in that whole cycle again. And now I'm done. She got her car. I was like, listen, you wrecked this, and there's a unicycle.
There's a unicycle.
I love that. That's perfect. But I'm glad she's okay. That kind of
Right.
stuff's scary.
Absolutely.
T-bone accidents are scary as hell, especially from the right hand side. Obviously, that's the scary side.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, man.
What about you, DC? Did you deal with any tantrums this week?
Of course, man. I got
we got
one and a
little
3-year-old.
kids.
Yep.
No shit.
Yep. So Liam, big into Spider-Man, and we got him a Spider-Man book the other day, and we didn't pay attention, but it has sticker pages on it.
Nice.
Yep. So now before bedtime, we have to read this book every night, and we have to take a sticker out of it and put it on him every night. And,
On him?
On him.
Gotcha.
On his pajamas, right here, on his chest.
Right.
Well, of course,
Got that S on my chest.
right. Of course, these freaking stickers don't stick to his pajamas very well, and so we put him down for bed. falls off. He runs to the gate. He's losing it. I need my sticker. Well, of course, it's dark in his room, so you can't find the damn sticker, right? And so then we have to find another sticker, put it on him. Dude, this dude did that 4 times the other night. And so, yeah.
How long from beginning to end?
Well, we put him down at 8. And this is probably 10:30, 11. Was the last one. Yeah, so
I would have had a tantrum.
right.
Yeah.
For some reason, those sticker pages disappeared the next day. So,
Interesting.
we're all out of stickers, but
Funnily enough, I found them in the trash.
oh man, so the stuff that they throw fits about.
And this is the tiny little things like that, man.
Ridiculous.
I'm gonna do a lot of reminiscing.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like time warping for me, man.
I get it.
I'm so far out of that bubble now.
Well,
with
but
a
that's-
16, 17-year-old.
That's why we do want to do the show, because it's a cool opportunity to have the conversation about the little kids, and you've got the older kids, and we love this.
Absolutely.
Our Elsie's been sick over the last week or so, and so we're still dealing with that. And
I saw the last podcast with Darcy.
Yeah. So full disclosure, we recorded that last night. So. That's not true.
I was like, she's still sick.
No, not really. That was actually that one was last week. I'm just joking. But so recently Elsie was sick. A little inside baseball there. And
now she's sick again.
Exactly. Liv works from home, and so we've got some flexibility where if she needs to like take some PTO, or like I'll try to come home at lunch and relieve her and stuff, but she's home, and if Elsie has to stay home from daycare, then we've got some wiggle room there. Yeah. My wife has many amazing qualities. She's hardworking. She's super driven. She is the best mother. I mean, I just love the woman to death. However, she is not the most organized human being on the planet. And to the point where her parents called her the Crimson Tornado when she was growing up, because the fake red hair and the messiness. Unfortunately, I think my daughter has not fallen far from the tree. When it comes to my wife, I came home yesterday, and I swear to God, it was a strawberry blonde tornado that had just blown through our house. And I mean, it's like, you were talking about stickers. I'm talking shit on the ceiling, shit on the floors, shit on the
literal
walls.
shit. Or,
No. Sorry, not actual poop. Touche. Because
I was like, you're close to that stage.
With this show, we actually kind of have to make that clarification. But like, I mean, there's Cheerios in the tub in the master bedroom that Elsie never goes in. And like, there's toys on the front porch, except Elsie hasn't been outside, so how the hell did they get out there? Like, anything like that. And she's just having the greatest time of her life. So it's not really so much a tantrum as it is me just going, how the hell does this even get to this setting? Yeah. And again, I'm a little bit of a neat freak, so that's my thing. I don't necessarily care if it's like sterilized clean. I just want everything put away, which is my thing. Yeah. Whereas Liv is very good about sterilizing everything. And so we're a good team in that regard, where it's like we can work on that together. Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's our tantrum this week is me being pissy about Elsie.
So in this case, 2 out of 3, it was us having the parents.
Exactly. Nothing like a dad team.
Hey,
right.
We've earned it.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, the other thing we ask everybody, Michael, is your best dad hack.
Dad hack alert.
Or dad advice.
Oh, man. So I was thinking on this a little bit, man, and I'll be honest with you. When the kids were your kids' ages, and I'm sorry, Derek, how old are yours again?
3 and 1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we're right there.
So yeah, I've been right there. My kids have been 3 and 1. At one point, and but so Jenny did most. She was a stay-at-home mom at that point. I mean, she did full-time, just stay-at-home mom for about 5 years, and then once the kids, at least Ethan, was able to go off to like kindergarten or whatever full-time, then she started picking up work because she's a graphic illustrator by
cool. I didn't know that.
by
That's
training.
awesome.
So she picked up work from home, and she was doing actually got this great client out in New York that brought in a bunch of this shit from China. It was all these like little, like, remember those fidget spinners or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Those types of little knickknacks he brings in bulk, and then Jenny would design the package that they go in and they sit in like C-stores and stuff. So she got little gigs and stuff like that, and but she did the heavy lifting. I mean, 90% of it. I was gone. I was working 12-hour days.
Sure.
I had a restaurant at the time, that I was running, and that's that consumes all of your hours, man. If you're doing it right.
Sure.
So I don't have a whole lot of like little kid hacks, but one thing that I did think of I will say is this: when you have kids close in age like that, and this can kind of go both ways. I'm not trying to foster some like mean-spiritedness between the two siblings, but with me, it was like if I wanted them to get something done either quickly or thoroughly.
Yeah.
You got to dangle the carrot, so there's got to be a prize, some kind of prize anyway, right?
Okay.
But it's a competition.
Sure.
Oh.
Create the
You know what I
competition
mean?
for
All right?
sure.
And then your mom and I will come, and we'll check off the boxes of who did what best, and turn it into a thing, and yeah, and then that was also at that age kind of a litmus test for us to go, all right, who's the clean one out of these two? And we could give those jobs to. You know what I mean? It was almost like a personality
that's a good
test.
point.
Identify the strengths and let's lean into those, baby.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it was a little like a healthy spirit of competition.
Yeah,
I'll say
yeah,
between the siblings, man.
I love that.
That's
fun.
Competitive
And
spirit.
you get shit done.
Yeah, for sure.
You make it, like 50 cent, like a 50-cent piece, like a
Sure.
JFK 50-cent piece.
Yeah, $50.
When you're 3 and 2, they're like, yeah. What
Right.
else do I need to do
Yes.
for that?
What can't this buy?
That's exactly
right.
That's correct.
I mean,
The keys to the kingdom. Yeah, let's go. Let's clean this room real
oh
fast.
man. Yeah, actually, I don't have a dad hack this week. I think this is the first time I don't have a dad hack, but I got some dad advice.
Nice.
Because I was trying to think of that. I was like, what's some dad advice that I give somebody? Now that I've been a dad for 3 years, and
Interesting. I haven't thought about this.
yeah.
Cool. That's a good idea.
And it's funny. We was at soccer last week, and again, this is soccer for 2 and 3 year olds, right? So
Sure.
it's just
It's just groups of
it's
three
chaos.
soccer around, yeah.
It's
it's
you're fine.
chaos.
barely
Kids, they're every week at least one kid is losing it, and this one poor dad, his kid's having a rough day, and you can tell dad's frustrated and everything, and kid's not doing what he's supposed to do, and it's so bad that the dad just decides to like leave in the middle of practice because the kid, he's not going out there on the field, right?
Took the kid with him.
To leave with the kid.
All right,
Sorry.
cool.
Yeah, let me clarify. Let me clarify
that.
that. Yeah, no, dad's
He's
not
like,
walking
"Yo,
out.
dude,
No.
I'm done."
Yeah.
Forget it.
No,
See you, buddy.
Straps
Walk
the kid,
home.
straps the kid in the car seat, and he hops in the car. Luckily, he parked right next to us, and I was sitting in the car during soccer practice, and I rolled
He's
out.
a gimp. He can't get out.
Yeah. So I roll down the window, and I'm like, hey man, you getting out of here? He's like, yeah. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not listening, not interested. And I'm like, man. I was like, it's okay. I was like, it's just a phase. Everything's just a phase. I was like,
Sure.
And I told him a story about how we went basically through the exact same thing with Liam during gymnastics at a certain point. And I told him, I was like, it'll pass, man. It's just, I know it seems like forever right now, but it'll pass.
This
And,
too shall pass.
Yep. And so he just looks at me. He's like, thanks, man. I needed to hear that. So, yeah, my dad advice is, even though it seems like it's taking forever right now, just know everything's just a phase and it will pass.
So many things that I'm going to say I feel like already are going to be like cliches because you're
That's
going to be
okay.
asking me about, what does it feel like now that you're 10 years or 12 years removed
Sure.
from this phase, and that's one of it. It's so hard to see it that way when you're in the thick of a lot of stress and just a lot to do,
Right.
just a lot on your plate, but it is phases, and it's funny. It's like you'll miss that age too.
Oh, right.
You miss things good or bad, I suppose, right? But you do miss that age, man, and to have the maturity, and you guys will gain more perspective as the longer you're dads, and I would like to think the three of us are probably going to be attentive dads and try
so,
to be
yeah,
in our kids'
absolutely.
lives and all of that, and you realize you miss that. I mean, the days where I could just pick up my kid with one hand.
Oh,
and how he
God.
could pick me up with one hand. You know what I mean? So it's like, so the roles flip on you.
What
But the
happened
phases,
here?
the phases move quickly, man. They
Yeah.
really do.
Scary.
That's cool.
3 to 1 is 3 and 1 is that's you're in the vortex right now.
Yeah,
You know,
but
I
it's
get it,
fun
man,
too,
you know?
right? I mean,
Accurate.
they're
Absolutely.
like you were saying earlier, two best friends from the get go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
And
So-
the one is probably not. I don't know how great of a walker he is. I mean,
Yeah, he's almost 1.5 now, so he's I mean he's moving
in there.
around pretty
Yeah.
good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's just the sound of those feet, and that's
Yeah,
not
right.
those cheesy things that that'll say, right? But
Right.
but
running down the
listen,
hallway. Yep.
Cliches are cliches for a reason.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what I mean? And
It's accurate
I
statement, dude.
come home and I regularly put in 14-hour days. I go
Sure.
at 9 and I'm getting home at 11. So I've missed everything. I missed the whole day.
Yeah.
And but on those days that I get to come home a little earlier, it was and to hear them just, daddy's home.
Yeah.
Now they could give a shit. I'm home or not, they don't know. And then they're like, oh, dad's home, cool. No, it's not like that. I mean,
Money,
if they know I'm
please.
gonna be like,
Right, yeah.
they're actually pretty good. But that like when they really want to see you,
Yeah.
that's fleeting, guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
We've made a point. We've talked about this a couple of times that we really, Derek and I both have kind of made a pact that we're going to try to stay in the moment as best we can, because you know you can
cool thing that you're doing.
exactly.
Right,
That's kind of why we. That's kind of why we hate.
It's hard to do sometimes.
It's brilliant, man.
It's trying to live in the moment and recognize that, like, yeah, it might suck right now, but we're gonna miss the shit out of this.
There's no doubt.
So,
No doubt.
my dad hack is cheesy as hell and something that you guys have probably both seen, but I realized we had not talked about it, and so I'm just stealing it. We're gonna go
All
for
right.
it.
What do we got?
Elsie, I'm excited to get Elsie into sports. Golf, we'll see. I suck. Hopefully she's better than me.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like softball, baseball, wiffle ball, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You tie the wiffle ball to the end of your fishing line, and then you hold your fishing rod out, and you hold it out at strike height,
and then you
click it, and she hits it, and it goes, and then I'm just sitting there with a cold drink, and then maybe I set it down, reel it back in, reel it back in, and then hold it back up at strike level, hit it again. All right. And I don't even have to get off my seat. There's no ball retrieval. There's no nothing. I'm just gonna do that.
Dude,
So
that made me think of one I just saw like just the other day.
the internet is a wonderful place.
It's so similar. It's a dad just sitting there in his lawn chair, you know, drinking a drink, and the kid's in the swing, and he has a rope attached to his swing, and he's sitting here in his chair, pulling the rope, swinging his kid, drinking his drink, and I was like, man, right?
Well, and we had a dad on recently that talked about dad hacks come from a place of dad selfishness. When you're getting kind of lazy and you want to be a little selfish, and it's like, this guy was talking about how he gets color-coded golf balls and he hits them out into his yard, and then his kids compete for who can bring back the most of their color golf balls. And so he's getting some range time in, and the kids are getting some exercise.
Yep.
Hey, that's a win-win, dude.
Wears them
But
out.
I love the idea of just dad laziness cannot be outstripped when it comes to creativity.
Right? The innovation is amazing.
What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
You know,
That's
my
exactly.
need to sit here and drink coffee. All right? It's going to spawn all manner of brilliant ideas.
I love that.
I will say this I am jealous of. All right, Jenny and I got together right when Facebook was first starting to kind of blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so she and I start getting serious. Like, we were friends for 2 years before we started dating.
Awesome.
But we start dating like 14 in 04.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Facebook is starting to kind of
fledgling.
take off.
Sure.
Yeah. But I remember, like, she and I start getting serious like pretty quickly, and then I'm seeing all these other kids that are like working for me. But back then, you got to understand, I'm only like 25, 26.
Sure.
These kids that are working for me are like 21, 22, you know, juniors and seniors in college generally, you know?
Yeah.
And they're out there pulling so much action off the internet. And I'm like, you're telling me I missed this window?
You mean it was you could just type? You could just use your fingers and type some things?
Doing. I was like, what the shit? You know, I got to go out and buy drinks, be witty. You know what I mean? Try to not get sloppy or less sloppy than you.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's like how you get away from a bear, be the second slowest guy.
that's correct. That's correct. Or be the first one to push somebody. Yeah. But listen, I say that just to bring up the fact that you guys do have a tool in the, like, everything is, granted, probably back in my day, you could probably find something maybe on YouTube.
Sure.
But you'd have to like search for it and it'd probably be all grainy and crappy because it's filming it on like a circa 94
Right.
JVC.
On the shoulder.
You know?
Yep.
Exactly.
But now everything is, I mean, it's all out there and it's all curated for
Sure.
you. You know what I mean?
And it's all about just seeking out other guys that give a shit about being a parent. It's like you talked about earlier.
Sure.
You hope that you're going to be an attentive parent.
Yeah.
You just seek out other people that are also hopefully being attentive parents, and then heartlessly steal their
all of it,
ideas.
right? All of it.
Heartlessly steal it all and
right.
apply it to make your kid a super kid,
That's-
which is exactly what we've done with this show.
That's great, man.
Michael, when you and I were talking about you being on the show, one of the reasons why we wanted to do this, because you and I had a little Facebook interaction commiserating over with another friend of ours. His daughter did not go to homecoming with a date, but instead went with a group.
Right.
There was like 3 guys and 4 girls or something like that, and he had made some Facebook post with, nice pictures of the kids, but then he's like, you know what, I dodged the proverbial dad having to send his daughter out on a date experience that every every girl dad dreads. And you and I, of course, immediately got in the comments, and you said something about like, well, yeah, I'm going to be the guy in the kitchen sharpening his knives and yelling in Korean
Loudly and angrily. You know what I mean? Yeah.
and I was talking about like trying to quote as many Will Smith and
Martin Lawrence
comments as I could from Bad Boys,
great.
and so
Great
and we went back and forth on that, and I thought that was just hilarious. So I want to talk about it, but like. We've touched on it a little bit, but you are one of the few guys that we've had on the show that have teenage kids.
Yeah.
Talk about like some of you and Jenny's thought process when it comes to like talking to your kids about dating, or you know, I had some peers in my circle whose dads were like ironclad, you will not date until you're 18, or like that kind of shit. And I don't know if that exists so much anymore, but like
I'm sure it does.
Talk to us about like your thoughts with like teenagers and dating and all that.
Yeah, so you know with the dating thing, you really kind of have to be honest with yourself and remember what you really were thinking and were about back then. You know what I mean?
Sadly.
And yeah,
that's actually why I'm scared of it.
Exactly.
But honestly, it was fairly, you know, there aren't like bad kids. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
sure. I get what you're saying.
There, you know what I mean? That you have to shield your children
it was
from.
Tame.
You know,
it
what
was
I mean?
tame.
You
Sure.
know, yeah. But you know, I'll be honest with you. As far as Lillian goes, our daughter, I think Jenny's had a lot more conversation. And with Ethan, you know, we've kind of had the sex talk and all that came from the same sex parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Because we have one of each. And with Ethan, with me, it was just always like, listen, just be confident and be yourself. People like you. You're funny. You know what I mean? You're gregarious. You put yourself out there. Just because a serious relationship hasn't really happened for me. He's had a couple of girlfriends.
Right.
Oh, what's a girlking? And
right.
We're talking.
We're
talking.
Exactly.
Texting.
What the hell does that mean?
Texting.
Yeah,
Not
texting.
even
Sorry,
talking.
He was actually dating this one chick. And then, I remember she was over for New Year's Eve. I guess that must have been 2 years ago. And then they just kind of disappeared for a hot minute. And then Jenny went down and they were on his giant beanbag chair, and she was straddling him. And she comes upstairs. Her eyes are like, they're downstairs and she's straddling him. You know what I mean? Like,
she's
like
on my baby.
Boy, this is when he's like 15, going to 16. I guess,
Right.
And no, it's going to be a series of these kind of like, boom, hits to the face. Like, holy cow, they just took off in a car together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's scary.
And those things happen. But, with me, with Ethan, it was always, listen, just be yourself. Because you don't want to be something else, because then that's work to try to keep being that person. You know what I mean? And you're going to get tired of it. And that's
absolutely.
That's lifelong relationship advice, I guess, right? But, you're always just trying to be anything but yourself when you're 16, 17.
Tell the
right?
truth so you don't have to remember the lies.
There you go.
Right, yeah.
And not necessarily lie, but like be more
I get what you're saying,
way,
though.
more affectionate than you're really comfortable being. Of course, you're more excited at first. But I just told him to be genuine and to be respectful of women. I mean, that's the bottom line. You just hope that he's courteous to his girls and girls that he may date and have interest in, and
sure,
and I think he is. So we're lucky in that way. With Lillian, I just stay out of it. Listen, this is my thing, all right?
I don't want to know.
There's no advice I can
appreciate
give,
that. That
all
makes
right?
sense.
Because I was horrible, dude. There's nothing that I want, my daughter to experience that I was thinking, that age, right? So I've really let Jenny just kind of deal with it, and actually she's kind of been lamenting lately the fact that she hasn't had a serious boyfriend yet.
Got it.
Really, at all. No real relationship. And she blames her scary brother. She's like, everybody in my grade is scared of Ethan.
There you go.
And so no one wants to ask me, and I was like, this is all planned. You don't even know.
Yeah.
He came 18 months before you,
Yeah.
just to make sure that this is
That's
what it was.
right.
Well, and I've seen some of his pictures. He's not a small dude.
No, he's
I
a
mean,
big
he's
kid.
a sinner, right?
Yeah, Taekwondo black belt.
Is he
really?
like legit scary
awesome.
dude?
Yeah, he loves
love it.
archery. He likes to shoot guns. And I remember
That's hysterical.
I hadn't talked to a
Oh
friend
my
in a few
God.
years when he was about 10, 11. He's doing all these things, and it was right about to get the black belt the following year. I guess it would have been 13. But so I tell him everything he's into, and it was all like, outdoorsy stuff. But it's like he's really into archery right now. He got a compound bow, and he's really good. And I sent him a picture of us at Sounds of Freedom in Ozark, shooting guns. And I was sending him some taekwondo. He's like, wait, you raising an assassin? Is that what you're trying to say? Is it, you are from Nixa, so is he trying to raise Jason Bourne?
Right,
Exactly.
Jason
That
Bourne,
was Jason Bourne.
I was like, I didn't really think about that, but yeah, all those are deadly activities, right? Yeah, that's correct. But hey,
so good.
listen, it's come to pass, man, that my the boys in my daughter's grade will not even really ask her out for fear of
Big
incurring
Brother.
Ethan's wrath, man, which
Hey,
I think is
dad
perfect.
win. Dad
Perfect.
win right there, man.
That is a true win. It's a win from above. Man.
No joke.
Yeah.
Well, that's I asked that question because I am one of two boys. and
you have a younger brother.
Exactly,
yes?
I have a younger brother, and other than that, like I've got a couple of girl cousins, but it was mostly dudes in my family, and so I have so little experience talking about dating with a teenager except when I was a teenager,
right?
And I, frankly, as a teenager, could not be trusted to talk about dating as a teenager. Like that's just an idiot. I was just a 16-year-old idiot, and
ditto.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, we were covered in Hollister cologne, had the 2 collars popped, had the ripped jeans.
Excellent.
Yeah, we were those shitheads.
Right
so
on. I like it.
I'm curious to hear kind of. I want to absorb all that I can.
Kids seem to be. Listen, shitheads are going to be shitheads, right? And
sure.
That's cross generational, right? But I think, but I do feel kids are just a little bit more aware of. I think you can understand kids that are 16, 17, like my kids' age now. They were 11, 12, just coming into sexual consciousness and all of that, dating and the other sex when Me Too came around, right? So I think that they come around with this more kind of this understanding that you need to maybe respect boundaries.
Yeah.
Or at least I shouldn't say that because I'll probably get in trouble. You know what I mean? At the very least. But at least an understanding of, all right, let's maintain some boundaries. And I'm telling you, as much as I like to make fun of the kids these days in this generation, right? There are certain things that they do that I'm really just taken aback by because I think it's unprecedented for a 14, 15, 16-year-old to think about some of the things that they do.
Super refreshing.
Right?
That's
listen,
really,
so the internet is good and bad, right? And I think if you use it correctly and see things, you just have, it's incredible there's nothing that you can't not know, right? Through this little thing that you hold in your hand, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's scary, but at the same time, I think that they have a broader understanding of how certain social norms work. You know what I mean? Because they're exposed to it, through social media. And
that's so cool. Well,
I love that.
Yeah. Truly. That's super profound, and I definitely had not thought about that, but it makes complete sense.
Wow, yeah, it does give us some hope, huh?
Yeah, no joke. Well, there have been a couple of instances where I have been like worried that other kids are going to be shitty to my daughter, and I have been pleasantly surprised that like they weren't. Yeah. So Elsie went.
But what's being shitty to your daughter at that age?
Well, like run around
knocking them down.
Exactly. Run around the playground. Slightly older kids. They're not paying attention, but they were all sweethearts. It's like, okay, maybe this generation, the generation of Elsie's age group, is not near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Man. Listen, man, the kids are going to be as good as the kid's going to be. You know what I mean? Regardless of what, there's a lot of scary things out there that you hope that they are not exposed to too early. There's so many, things that are out there that are not age appropriate, that they could have access to. And you got to be diligent about that as well,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We folded early, not early, because there were kids that had their phones way earlier, but our kids both got their phones when they were 12, which I thought I was fighting for 13, but it was becoming a hard fight.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so I let them have it with a lot of restrictions, obviously. But, so they've had it now for 4 or 5 years, and I think that they're using it pretty responsibly.
Good.
But I'm just saying, like, this is the one thing that, sociologists and everyone will look back 100 years from now, 200 years and 500 years from now, go, that was a pivotal thing that happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Societally. Yeah. And it affects the kids, man.
Yeah.
And but got good kids, and I just hope that they try on a lot of different hats. That's how I always started dating from that age to 20. Unless you are one of those real lucky people that find the one at 17, and then 40 years later you're still married and that kind of thing. But for now, I think it's like anything. That's what I think about college as well. Is now that I'm getting ready to be an empty nester in 2 years.
God, that's wild,
insane,
man.
Yeah.
I bet.
2 years, so I'll only be like 48, and Jenny will be like 44. So we'll be very young parents.
Good for you guys.
So we'll be young empty nesters, but. Prime earning years, so we need to do that. You know what I mean? But with 2 in college.
That's what I was going to say, especially if they're going to college.
I get it.
But that's the plan for both of them right now. But you try to model the right things, and you're going to fuck up. God knows I do a lot, and sorry about the swearing.
No.
I
promise that's not the worst thing that's been said on the show.
But the main thing is, especially when it comes to dating and stuff, to just know that your kids have to know that you love them.
Yes.
And if they know that, and when it's all said and done, when they get to my age and they can think on me when they were young, and besides all of the things they may have screwed up on, if they know that I cared for them, in the end, and that's it. Then it's all said and done. I did what I needed to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
well said.
When they mess up, let them know they messed up, but tell them you love them right afterwards
Absolutely.
too.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's,
it's I've always we talked about the restaurant thing. I've always looked at serving staff, and that's a different dynamic because I've gotten older and they stayed the same age, like Matt McConaughey, right? But it's
So
the
true.
same.
Oh,
thing.
truer words were never spoken too.
But you gotta a kick in the ass has got to be followed by a pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean quickly followed by a pat on the back, and I've always kind of believed in that. And I talk big, but I don't always follow through. Obviously,
that.
Sure.
And I've been known to fly off the handle, more than was needed, on many occasions. And a lot of that was work induced too. When you work a 70-hour on a stressful work week, it's so hard to come home and just let that go.
Sure.
Yeah. And at the same time, at that age, when my kids were like 3 and 2. Jenny's been home with these kids all day too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as hard as my day was, I know that I wouldn't trade it for her day that day on any given day.
Yeah.
Right. And so trying to be mindful of that and being sympathetic to kind of what she'd been through, I'm getting my ass kicked out on the world, but you've been getting your ass kicked in here harder all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, just trying to, and I look back, and that's the thing that I can impart on you guys. I'll tell you, 10, 15 years removed from where you guys are now, there are things that I do regret a lot. I actually think about these things. It's kind of my personality that I ruminate on times where I really messed up, and I would love to go back and do that over again,
Sure.
But one of the things is you just gotta. For me, it's always like even when I run hot, I just gotta step away for like literally. It takes me like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To come down and then have a much better response. You know what I mean? And when I haven't given myself that time is when things were said that I know is in the hard drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those are the things that I super regret and I'm sorry for.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you guys, just you save, you wait that little moment, hold that tongue, and you'll be so freaking glad you did. Just even an hour later, man, because the things could come out of your mouth, and they did for me a lot. When I was like, man, I didn't mean that.
Right. Can't take it back.
I didn't mean that. At all.
Yeah. But
I was
anyway.
seeing red. Sure.
yeah. But no, you mentioned it there. Talking about the restaurant business, and what was that like? Having 2 kids, little kids. Whenever you had a restaurant, and then now they've turned into teenagers. Like, do you make them work for you? And
well,
what's that like?
No, they both worked at Kraft actually. At
Yes?
Kraft Sushi, they both worked. And Ethan's first job outside of Kraft was as a host at FD's Grill House down there off Campbell across from Sam's. So, he's kind of into the hospitality thing. At the same time, I'd be lying if I say I'm not trying to steer them away from that. I want them both to maybe serve for a year or so, just to kind of you gain a lot of soft skills doing that job.
Oh, for sure.
You learn a lot about being able to read people's moods, meeting them where they are, anticipating needs. Those are all things that are completely transferable skills to anything that you'll do to be successful.
Preach.
So I do want them to do it for a year, but there are a lot of pitfalls, and trust me, this line of work was the main things I missed a lot. There's no two ways about it, man. I missed a lot. I would work 12 to 14-hour days, and that was a lot. And that was the early years,
Right. When a lot of stuff's happening.
When a lot of stuff's happening, a lot of development's happening, and but I'll tell you one cool thing is that the day that I was off, on a Sunday, it's like a holiday every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, Daddy's
That's
home
cool.
all day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
So
I
cool.
can't come home early on a day, or because I know not a whole lot's going on, and it took me a long time to. I should have done it a lot earlier because I think I could have.
Yeah.
But it was always my mentality was I got to be here,
Right.
and especially something like Argentina Steakhouse in a fine dining setting. This is in no way trying to be complimentary or anything. I know the experience for my guests that night, it'll be different when I'm there versus if I'm not there.
Sure.
Not that I'm cooking or
Yes.
doing anything necessarily, but even a table touch is something that they really respected. So I always felt that responsibility, and I worked a ton because of it, because I wanted to always do a good job, man.
Sure.
And consequently, I missed a lot. So that's why I'm so thankful for this past year. I left Hickory a year ago last month, and I've had just a lot of time to do a lot of cool things. Like even,
Cool.
My daughter's just finishing up with this cheer competition thing, but we signed her up last May, and a big chunk of my year has been taking her to these things. But not only that, just practice. Practice is in town. I live in Nixa. You know what I mean? It's in West Republic, and it's like a 20-minute trip each way.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that 4 times. 2 round trips.
Yeah.
3 times a week, you know what I mean? But even that, so there's a lot of time that
You're getting to make up for time.
exactly.
Dude.
Yeah,
Totally
I'm
get that.
getting it in now. No, but I'm just super thankful for it because I didn't always have it, man.
Right.
And
So having been on the receiving end of your soft skill and your ability to make a dining room fucking awesome. Having been on the receiving end of that, I can vouch for that, certainly.
Thank you.
Frankly, it's you left a gigantic hole at Hickory Hills, and they're filling it, but it's still Michael Cho shaped, and it's not quite there yet.
My level of bullshit is. You know,
I'm with
Second
you,
to
dude. I
none.
get it.
You know?
Well, and it is interesting though, because
professional grade, baby. All right, that's what we do.
well, we joked about this during the break that like Derek and I both have 9 to 5s,
Yeah.
as opposed to restaurant jobs where you're doing
9 to 9s.
9 to 9s,
Yeah.
and our time is differently spent though, where we're doing happy hours and like getting together with people, so we're still working, but it's not like in the office, ass in seat working kind of stuff.
Sure.
But I catch myself, my biggest thing, and I've been trying to work really hard at this, is to turn my fucking phone off.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm home and it's Elsie time,
Yep.
it's okay, we're turning it off,
Yeah.
we're turning it upside down, or we're putting it in our bedroom,
No, that's a huge
and it's going to stay
discipline,
there.
man.
And
a huge
it's
discipline. If you could do it,
I
kudos, man.
suck at it, frankly, and so it's something that even just within the last month, I've kind of told myself, all right, dumbass,
Yep.
we gotta do something
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
because it's not good.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'll say, especially at your age, not that I'm saying when the kids get to my kids' ages, it's less so, but you
Sure.
know, they're more developed and they have their own thing, and they think they're like, when you're their entire world, like you guys are right now.
Yep.
To your 1, 2, 3-year-old, right?
Yeah.
How old is Elsie now?
2, just about to be 2.
So you
yeah,
have 1, 2, 3. Right?
Yeah.
we're right there, the little ones.
But you are like God and Hulk.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
everything, right? The Jolly Green Giant, you're all of it, and they adore you and worship you. I mean, what
Yeah.
you say is gospel right now, right? So in that moment, I do feel, and I saw it when I was early on. Like I'd be at a playground at the Nixa Community Center or something, and there'd be like 4 other parents, and like 3 of them, all of them are on their phones. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so was I, and I'd be like, I'd look at it, I'm like, all right, this is not okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I got to put this down.
I'm
the next
screwing
thing.
up.
Yeah. Because and kids would come and like try to get their parents' attention, and they're more concerned with that. That's got to fundamentally leave an impression on that child.
100%.
You know, this little thing is so important. Not only is it more important than me to my dad, but overall, that must be super important.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm
That
way
can't
more
be healthy.
enamored by
Yeah.
this thing than I am my own kids.
Right.
That's
So how crazy good is that? Is what they must be thinking. Like, I have to have it.
That's
Yeah.
a
You know
step
what I mean?
further into that
Yeah.
too. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I know like Liam, he's started to pick up on that. Like whenever I'm on my phone when we're at home, and he knows that he doesn't have my full attention, so then like he runs over there and like tries to take my phone or distract me
Sure.
or something,
Yep.
and that's clicking for me now. I'm like, he notices this, right?
He's catching it.
If
And
you
so-
guys can put that down at that point and give
Yeah.
them 5 minutes, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you guys
Well,
are better dads than
Yeah.
I
And I think,
was, or
like the
most
thing that works
will
for
be.
me too is just not putting it down, but just like putting it away, putting it in
Yeah.
another room. So
Yeah.
like I'm not even tempted to grab it, pick it
Yeah.
up, look at it, right?
You know, it's funny. My dad did one thing. This is back in the days of flip phones, and no
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
In the 90s, I remember he would come home. This is, I was already into high school and through college, but he would come home, and the thing he would do, as part of like picking out the wallet, and he had this one area with the bowl where the phone went in there, man. And
Yeah.
I still remember that. He's like, all right, business
That's
is
cool.
done. I'm home.
Sure.
It's 6:30.
I'm
I
out.
don't need to pick that up
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
tomorrow. What am I going to do about it anyway? That's what he would, that was his mentality,
That's
and
good.
and I respected that.
I like
I like
that.
that a lot.
I wish I could be better about that, but these phones have become our entertainment,
Our lifeline.
our social kind of connection, and it's just so weird what this has become. But it's
trying to find a way to separate yourself. It is difficult.
it is tough.
Certainly.
Yeah, but do it, guys. And kudos to you guys for even thinking about that.
Sure.
And follow through with that. You'll be happy you did.
So here's one for you. So we always talk to it seems inevitable that dads and sports tend to go hand in
Yeah.
hand. And we talked a little bit about Ethan being a center.
Yeah, well, left guard.
Left guard.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I knew he was a
Left guard,
lineman.
left
I
guard,
wasn't
left
sure what he
tackle.
did.
And he did play center for the final game last year against Liberty.
Nice,
And then,
okay.
and we lost that heartbreaker of a game, so we didn't continue. That was a championship game for our division.
that's tough.
Yeah, it was rough.
So
we had a good season though.
I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk because your son does another sport that we've not had anybody else on. He does some cheer stuff.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And we've not really talked about we've not talked to any dads who have got their sons doing cheer
In a
stuff.
cheer program, yeah.
So how did he get set up? How did that come to be? Because the guy, what a great place for somebody who's beefcake strong to just put somebody in the air.
Yeah.
Like, duh, it makes complete sense.
Listen, so his friend Connor actually deserves all the credit for that. So Nixa had never had a co-ed cheer team until 2 years ago.
Nice.
It was the first year, and Ethan was a incoming sophomore. No, freshman. No, sophomore. Dang it, I got it all confused now. But in any case, he went in that first year, and his friend Connor, who's this, class clown type, great kid, he wanted to do it, and Ethan just kind of just broached us. So he's like, "Hey, Connor wants to try out for this cheer thing." And honestly, I laughed at it. You know what I mean? All right, listen, I laughed. I was like, I know what you're trying to do. All right, you want to see, see more butts. You know? That's basically what it is, right?
It's on the back of his jersey. That's on the back of his jersey.
Not it at all. But no, they went in and they actually did they really did well, man. And they actually got to the states that first year. Lost in the finals, but then they won last year. They went to state, and we went out to what's that? Oh my God, on the Boot Heel. What's the big city out there?
Cape Girardeau.
Cape Girardeau. So we went to Cape Girardeau. That's what I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed being right there by the river. That's
cool, isn't it? It's a cool
town.
part of the world.
I actually, in the middle of all that competition, because we had like 3 hours between the first and second, I told Jenny, I was like, "Listen, there's this like historic home down the street." She's like, "What?" Like, I'm gonna go to that. She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Really?"
Sure.
Yeah, I'm
sure,
totally
Michael. Go ahead.
I'm totally going to that. And it was just me, and I walked around with an 80-year-old woman for 45 minutes touring this house. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Good for you, man. That's great.
I love watching how rich white people live like 100 years ago. It's really one of my favorites, man. It's really outstanding. No, but they won. So the story is, I thought it was kind of a joke at first, but then I saw how much dedication he had to the thing, and he was really trying to get better. And listen, what more motivation is there to go to practice than you get to lift cute, young girls? You know what I mean? So
that's a good point. Yeah.
It worked for him, and then come to find out, there's a lot of colleges that have programs, and that there's
I wanted to ask about
money
that.
there too.
Yeah.
Because Ethan doesn't want to play football at the college level.
Yeah.
He's a little undersized to be a lineman at the next level. He's like 6'1", and 6'1", like 265, and you got to be like 6'5", like 300,
especially
to play.
On the line. Yeah.
For any type of school that he wants to go to. But cheer is an option, and actually, you got Razorback stuff everywhere, man.
Oh yeah.
He's actually he was on a Zoom call with the cheer coach in Arkansas, who he met at a game 2 years ago, the first year that he was doing cheer, and he's looking at schools like LSU. He's looking at my alma mater, Rutgers. He was on a Zoom call with Rutgers, but Rutgers is different because they field a competitive team, which that gets much more intense. So he was saying like that's like 5 to 6 days of practice, 3 hours a day.
Really?
Versus Arkansas, which doesn't field a competitive team, just a sideline team.
Sure.
So they only practice like 3 hours twice a week.
Right.
2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a much less of a time.
Do they help
commitment.
pay for some school as well, though?
Dang, that's
If you
nuts.
make it to the cheer team somewhere like Rutgers, I think they have a little more money for that. I don't know how much Arkansas would be willing to give him, but I love that he would stay involved. He'd still be near the sports, and he knows the sports.
Yeah.
But he could be near football and basketball, and be part of a team. And also, it's about accountability, having some responsibility. And
Sure.
even if it's twice a week practices,
you got to be there. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
And I bet
especially
they
for
have
that long.
I bet they have great expectations, and I bet they've got all these different things. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's going to be around a lot of cute girls. I mean, listen, I was like, the more I think about it, I was like, dude, you're freaking brilliant.
I really don't
well
hate
played,
it.
son. Well played.
Really, really well played. Man.
Well, and I mean, we spent forever at the U of A trying to get further and further down in the stadium, closer to the field, so that we could see
And
more
they're
football.
right there.
And he's standing on the
I
freaking
know,
sideline.
dude.
I wanted to talk
kid's
about
got it
that because
figured out.
we haven't talked about like
No.
the cheer side of things, and that's a cool deal.
You know what I love is that any type of stigma, right? It just went right off his back.
Good
man.
for him.
He's like he's confident enough in that, and I was proud of that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you can get called names. So get this. So last year's homecoming game for Nixa, homecoming games always supposed to be a layup, right?
Yeah.
So this coach, the new coach, which was a great guy, Perry, is great, but he scheduled Joplin,
Oh shit.
which we had never beaten, period, for our homecoming game, right, in Nixa last year.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a cool moment in the news leader. Ethan got the front page of the sports section was can Nixa finally beat Joplin, and it was a picture of Ethan. It was a shot of Ethan, and it was awesome, right?
Good for him.
But I remember, so that went out, and I guess a bunch of Joplin kids, they all talk to each other via Snapchat or whatever the case may be.
course.
So there was all this talk. They were talking shit. They're like, The answer is no. Like Joplin kids were like responding to the article title. You know, like, can Nixa finally beat Joplin? They're like,
Sure.
no. And also, isn't that kid a cheerleader? Things like that were coming out, right? And because they know everything about each other. These guys are all like CIA now. You know?
Exactly right. All the
These
internet
pocket
exists.
phones, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he laughs all that off, and he's like, yeah, and then
Good
we
for
fucking
him.
killed him. So it was great.
Yeah. So they did win
They
again.
won, and then they went this year.
Way to
Our
go,
first
buddy.
game this year was away in Joplin. And we took them out like 42-16 too. So that set the tone.
That's a beating.
Not even
It
a
was
game.
That's
it was
a beating.
thumping, dude.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
I'm good for Ethan because
Right?
that's the kind of shit that having that self confidence.
Yeah, he has it. I didn't have that.
I was gonna say that's
Well, you know
probably
what I mean?
indicative of the way he was raised. Though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you guys got to take a little bit of credit for that.
Listen, I'll
because
take whatever credit that Jenny. It's
Yeah.
all Jenny, man. I'll be honest with you, and of course, I played my part, but a lot of the things that my kids are that I'm proud of, I like to say like it's in spite of how in spite of what I did to try to screw that up for you guys.
sure.
Yep.
Totally get that.
Nah, but it's all about being proud of your kids all the time. And
Sure.
Jenny and I have been very, very fortunate to have some good kids, man. And I'm sure you guys will be as well. You just got to ride the ride, man.
Fingers crossed.
I love what you said about that. Hey, listen, it's a phase,
Yep.
And for me, phases is there could be a 3-minute phase, like I talked about when you're really angry.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what you're feeling, that's a short phase. For me, it is. You know what I mean? There's other people that ruminate and hold on to grudges, whatever. When I get hot, I know I just need 3 minutes.
Right.
Step away.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's all
Yep.
I need. And just keep in perspective because I do miss that age now, man. I'll tell you, I'm sitting here at the same table with you guys, but I am 15 years removed from that now, and I miss it.
There's some shitty diapers upstairs you can change. You want to
Right.
deal with that, Michael?
No,
all right, I didn't think so.
No, listen. So
Change
I
my
always
mind.
wanted
Change my
3.
mind.
I'll end with this. I always wanted 3. We ended
Yeah.
up with 2. So we have a split team, 2 and 2. But I always wanted a third because I grew up with one sister, like I said earlier.
Sure.
And anytime I went to a friend's house that had like more siblings, like 3 or 4, it just felt more fun. You know what I mean?
Oh,
There was
right.
like more
people,
going on.
stuff
you know,
going
there was more
on.
stuff going
Yeah,
on. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And I was like, I like that dynamic, because my household was a little, was more quiet than that.
Sure.
It was a little more reserved. Like my sister and I didn't really have much interaction from middle school on. You know what I mean?
Right, yep.
And and being raised by kind of conservative Korean parents, and
Sure.
So it just felt like fun. So I wanted one. So
Yeah.
when the kids got to like 3 and 2,
Sure.
I was like, maybe what do you think another one? And first of all, we're living in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, which was fine because we bought that when Ethan was crawling.
Yeah.
So we had a guest room, his room, and our room was
Right.
fine.
Done.
And then Lillian comes. Now we don't have a guest room. So my parents come into town. Jenny's making a pallet on the living room floor for us. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
we don't even have a pull-out couch. And so, yeah, she's like, listen, you start making a lot more money, and we get a little bigger house, and maybe some help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then she did the brilliant thing. All of her friends, because we started early. Like I said, we're going to be young parents.
Sure.
This is all said and done. But her friends started having their first kids when they were more like 27, 28. Whereas
Yeah.
Jenny was like 23, right? So she would just bring one of these home. You know what I mean? Anytime I start bringing it up, because I was like, honey, it's now or never. Because I kept talking about it till they were like 5, 6.
Yeah.
I was like, honey, we can still, we still do this, man.
Yeah.
And she would bring a baby home, and like 5 minutes of like hard crying. It's 5 minutes, but
It's
it
enough.
feels like 45.
Forever.
Right? You know what I mean? Like I would get to the point where I had to go out to the garage and like smoke a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like it got bad, right? And that's how she cured me of that. And here we are.
Too
with 2.
perfect.
Yeah, man.
So, Michael, kind of the last, not the last thing, but close to the last thing that we normally end on is, some funny stories. Any parent has tons
Inevitably.
of funny stories,
Yeah.
right? And especially with your kids being 16 and 17, you probably racked up.
There's funnier stories, I'm
a
sure.
bunch.
But it's funnier. The one that I think of, and there's a lesson tie-in with this, and it's all about.
okay.
Perfect.
really
We like
right-
learning here.
Well, yeah. That's what this is for. But a lot of it is that. I think.
Not sitting around
And I
drinking
love
beer with
that.
our friends.
Yeah,
I mean
there you go.
coffee. I mean
What?
coffee.
Coffee. Well, he was 3, I want to say, right? Maybe 2.5, 3. He was still in his what do you call those? The pull-ups, right? And this is summertime, and we had 2 couples over, so 6 of us. We had dinner. Came into the living room. My house is like a 2,000 square foot 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-level house.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there's the living room, and then there's the hallway. Our bedroom on one side, the 2 bedrooms on the other, and a little bathroom in the hallway. So that's the layout. So we're sitting there, and we'd had some wine, and it's getting to be about like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we're all sitting around the couch and telling the stories or whatever, talking, and we were laughing, I guess, right? And so Ethan, in the middle of that, just comes sauntering out, right? Like he turns a dark corner, Like he was in bed for 2 hours.
He's been
Like,
asleep for several hours.
He comes out, turns the corner. We're like, oh, hey, Ethan, what's going on? And he's got this scowl on his face, and he's like, what's going on out here? Fuck! And then turns around and screws off back to his bed like nothing happened, dude. He goes, what is going on out here? And then, like, just hits it with the hard F. The hard F-bomb, right?
Well, I had a mouthful of coffee.
Yeah.
That is in my nose. I can feel it in my nose right now.
Dude, just picture that, yeah? Your 2-3-year-old just coming out topless, just in his pull-ups, eyes bleary. It's like, it's half squinting. What's going on out here? Because we're being loud.
Yeah.
Fuck! And then turns around and walks off, and we were all, obviously we're all like holding it in. We were dying laughing. But I was like, oh my God. I was like, baby, I was like, you realize my mom hears that I'm written out of the fucking will.
Yeah. I'm in so much trouble.
They're such sponges, and that's obviously
Yes,
something people
they
always
are.
say, but I'm saying speech-wise too.
Yeah.
Why do you think kids, like, you see it. Kids talk like their parents talk. You see it all the time. Inflections of speech, whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, they're constantly hearing, even if they're not looking at you, they're hearing.
You're
so,
right, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For those of us, especially like, be young over
Yeah,
here.
Michael and I get
clean it
along
up,
that
clean
way.
it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
my God.
I'm just saying, it's.
So obviously he picked that up from you guys. Just talk.
Pick that up from me, clearly from me. All right,
I was trying to give you an out.
Oh,
but yeah, I get it.
own it up to that one.
No, that was a hard me. All right. So and then I did try to watch it around them when they were little.
Sure.
After that a little bit, I was like, oh my God.
Right?
He just dropped that F-bomb like he's been saying it his whole life.
Hard.
For the whole 30 months he's been alive. You know
I like
what I mean?
the pause in that too.
No, it was a hard pause. It was a pregnant pause. What's going on out here? Like he's like expecting an answer, and no one says anything, and he's like, fuck, and he just turned around and walked off, dude. It was epic. I wish I had that on. Oh, I would pay so much money.
Yeah,
Just could have retired by now.
Yeah, just record that.
But anyway, that was just one of those funny moments. But it was also like, oh man, I gotta. Like,
Oops.
So I don't think that they're hearing anything.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
They do, though.
they
They do.
get from 1 to 3 so fast. But there's a huge difference between that 3 and 1. I mean, I'm sure you're seeing it now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And those kids are just picking it up all along the way.
Well, and I've actually heard him curse more in the last 6 months that we've been doing the podcast than I have ever before. Like he's pretty good
It's
about
parenting.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can let it out on here. I can't let it out at home.
That's actually probably true. But like
good.
I have seen more of that out of him than I ever have.
Right.
But Liv's worse than I am.
Yeah.
And so it is one of those deals where it's
Liv
like,
is salty.
all
I
right,
like
we're gonna have to figure something out because our kid's gonna be calling people motherfucker in the elementary
But-
school lunch line, and it's gonna be a problem.
It's funny though, but I also had good friends that had kids around the same age. Guys that were in the neighborhood, and one of them was a really good friend of mine and a great dad. Involved in everything, but he swore like a sailor around the kids constantly. Like there was no filter even when they were like 7, 8, and I'm like, you know what I mean? And he just like let it go, and the kids are walking around like, I guess that's what we're doing here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I'm not going to disrespect him or say anything, in his home,
of course.
But there's some people that raise them that way. I don't know what to
Well, and everybody's going to do it their own way. I
Yeah.
think that's the
Yep.
whole point of
Yeah.
being a parent is that you make your impression on those kids. For better or for worse, you're
Absolutely.
making your own impression on
Yep.
those kids.
Yep.
So, all right, well, that's probably my new favorite story that we've heard on the show. That's hilarious. And speaking of hilarious, let's bring it out. Let's finish it with everybody's favorite part of the episode.
What's our favorite part?
Is it?
Dad joke of the week.
Yeah, it is.
So let's get into some dad jokes. DC, you want to start us off? Give me a dad joke, big boy.
Okay, well, actually, I think I'm going to bust out my first uncle joke of
have
the
it.
podcast. Okay.
Uncle jokes are things that you wouldn't tell your kids, but your brother might.
I love it.
Right?
And they have already at this age.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. And your kids, yeah, that's so true.
I found out that my son got drunk with with Jenny's younger brother, my brother-in-law, at deer camp.
At deer camp.
Like he got soused.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, anyway, sorry.
That's awesome. All right, so what can a male teacher say in class, but also during sex?
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah? We better wrap this up or you're going to miss your next period.
Oh my God. Oh my
You
God.
were the period joke in there, huh? That's excellent, man.
Wow.
That's strong.
That's true.
Derek Chaney. What have you done with Derek Chaney?
Oh man,
Strong.
I've been holding on to that one for a
Bring
while.
it back. I love it.
I like it.
Mine. So I actually was thinking about. I've got two of them, and they're both Chaney related. You can tell by looking at him. The guy's cock diesel. He lifts a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Not right now.
why did the chicken go to the gym? To work on his pecs.
Shit.
So stupid.
So glad.
So
I have 2
stupid.
beers with me. You'll be getting nothing from me right now. Right? Nothing.
And then the other one also having to do with Derek. Why do actors always say break a leg?
Oh, come on now.
Because they all want to be in a cast.
Oh,
In a cast.
Hey, I like that one.
Yeah.
That was for you, big boy.
Yeah, that's not funny. That's not funny.
Michael, what about
Pecs
you?
was good.
Yeah. You have any dad jokes you like?
I got one that I heard recently that I like. I guess I have a few, but this one I thought was kind of funny. He says, "What's the difference, guys, between Dubai and Abu Dhabi?" You guys know what that is? All right.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard this one, but I don't
don't know.
remember it. Yeah.
So people in Dubai don't like Scooby Doo, but Abu Dhabi do.
That was so good.
Oh, it was the guy that told me it. He nailed it. He nailed it. He had better timing than I did. But
No,
yeah.
that was good.
That's
That was
solid.
solid.
Don't like
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo,
dude, that's
but
solid.
people in Abu Dhabi do. All right.
That's solid work.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. Nice work, dude.
Oh man.
All right.
Well,
man.
that's kind of where we tend to end this thing. But I do want to say thank you, everybody who's out there on the internet watching and listening and subscribing and commenting.
Yeah.
We're getting a bunch of really good ones.
Nice.
At time of recording, we crossed 1,300 subscribers on
Yeah.
YouTube,
Hey, come on,
which
man.
is kind of fun. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Come on.
And we've got it's fun. We get some comments that are shitty, but then we also get some really, really nice ones.
Yeah.
And we got one today.
Yeah, we got actually a couple today that I want to share.
Let's
real
hear
quick. Lucas Shoemaker, I think,
Yeah.
7380, said, most small podcasts are full of nothing, but this one is funny AF.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Yeah, we'll take that.
And so Thanks, Lucas, for that. But then we also got another good one here.
This one was actually cool. Yeah, this was nice to read.
Yeah, YouTube name, commentator. I'm a childless woman by choice, and I have to admit that this content I'm not too interested in, but it's one of the few male podcasts that deals with meaningful and useful things in a sea of podcasts that deal with nonsense.
Yeah, that's hey,
This
come
is a
on.
gem, honestly. You have a subscriber. Keep up the good work.
Hey.
So
come on,
thank you
guys.
so much, commentator.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, so
Do
we
you have
thought
any
that was
idea
very
whether
nice.
some of these people are local versus like living in Scandinavia?
It is
Or,
interesting. We
yeah.
can all the YouTube algorithm, we can dig into analytics. Like we can see different
creepy.
different countries. I mean, like
That's
Derek was
awesome.
tracking that there was like 4 people in Russia listening to us.
Hey.
I mean, but like
They're
truly,
all spies.
we've got to
Right?
right,
Did I say that?
yeah.
No, Russia's great.
But it is kind of fun to see like where people are coming from, and it's been a lot of fun to have people engage with us. So we really appreciate that. So give us your
Absolutely
dad
do.
jokes, give us your dad hacks, tell us your stories, give us feedback. We'd
Yep.
love to hear it.
Yep.
So I just have to say, man, way to go, decent dad.
Yeah.
Thank
Nice
you.
work.
Great job,
I appreciate
Michael.
it, guys.
Well
Hey,
done, buddy.
proud of you, man. 1,300 subscribers.
That's
Think about
pretty
that.
fun.
I mean, you're filling up like the Gilloys.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take it.
You know
We
what I
can get
mean?
to that. Yeah, it's fun.
That's amazing.
never thought
Proud of
about
you
it like
guys.
that, but yeah.
That's
Thanks
cool.
for having me on. This is fun.
Yeah, so we unless anybody else has anything else,
I got nothing.
perfect. Well, and I guess we'll see you next time. I've also got steak grease on my glasses, I just noticed.
Excellent.
With these lights shining on them.
Steak grease.
I cooked Elsie and I some steaks for dinner
There you
tonight,
go.
and she was screaming bloody murder at me, and I overcooked the shit out of them. I had a couple of hockey puck ribeyes.
Funny
Nice.
is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
casual,
I
Real
did a
chewy.
Tri-tip yesterday. So I'm
casual
like, yeah, I'm
25
right
bucks
there
down the
with you.
fucking drain.
Yeah, that
Right.
sucks.